In this series related to ASQ CCQM exam, which is Certified Construction Quality Manager exam, previously in the second video we talked about eligibility criteria, who are eligible for taking this exam. Now coming to the third video in this series, and in this video we will be talking about how much does it cost to take this exam, what is the application process, and what is the test schedule for taking this exam. Let's first start with the exam cost. When it comes to the exam cost, ASQ has two different costs. One for the ASQ members and the second is for non-members. Let's talk about the non-members cost. So if you are not a member of ASQ, then in that case the cost of this exam will be 533 US dollars. But if you are a member of ASQ, in that case this fee get reduced by $100 and you just need to pay 433 US dollars, which is $100 less than the non-member cost. Now at this stage you might be wondering that what is the cost of becoming the member. So to become the member you need to pay the annual fee, and the annual fee is US $185. So let's say if you want to apply for CCQM exam, then in that case you might need to think that whether do you want to become a member before application. So in that case you will pay $185 for membership fee, and then you will pay $433 for the exam fee. So basically you save $100, but for that you need to pay $185 to become member. Now it's your choice. ASQ does not require that for this exam you need to be ASQ member. So it's your choice absolutely. But by becoming member, you save $100 in the exam fee. And let's say if you want to buy a book from ASQ, so in that case also you get some concession. So there are separate member prices for those as well. And that way you can save some more money. But obviously if you are applying for, let's say, two different certifications in a year, then definitely you can save a lot by becoming a member. But then I leave this judgment to you. Now this was the exam fee, which was 533 and $433. But let's say unfortunately if you fail and you need to take this exam again, that will cost you $333. Now if I look at this number, paying $333 for re-exam and then spending another 2 months for study, so this basically should motivate you to use all the resources which you have. Do your best and pass the exam in the first attempt. Because retaking the exam is costly. It will cost you $333. In addition to that, you will have to again go for a study mode for maybe next 8 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it is, and you will lose the fun from your life. So basically I will suggest that do your best to pass this exam in the first attempt. Take all the resources which you can take so that you don't need to reappear in this exam. And obviously there are unlimited attempts, and I don't think you want to go that way, attempting this exam for 3 times 4 times. You just want to pass this exam in the first attempt itself. Now this was about the fee. Now what about the application process? For applying for this exam you need to apply through ASQ website. So you go to asq.org and look for CCQM exam, and there you will find where you need to apply for this. So you need to complete your application online. In that you need to provide details related to your work experience as well. As we talked previously in the previous video regarding eligibility, you need to show that you have the required work experience or the educational qualification that you will be doing by attaching your resume with your application. Now once you apply, this application will be reviewed by ASQ, and based on that your application will be accepted if it meets the eligibility criteria. Once this is approved, then you will be issued an eligibility ID, and this ID will help you in booking your exam date. Now a question could be, what happens if your application is rejected? So in that case my understanding is that you will lose $100 and the balance amount will be refunded to you. ASQ will not tell you beforehand whether you are eligible for this or not. You need to apply for the exam, and based on your application, they will make a judgment. I will think this way, that think positive. For rejecting your application, ASQ need to have a solid reason for that. So unless there is any solid reason for rejection, your application probably might not be getting rejected. But if you are in doubt or you are at the borderline, think of this way, that you might lose $100 if your application gets rejected. But I have not heard many such cases. So if you think you are eligible, just apply for that, take your chance. And based on your application, based on your resume, ASQ might do audit of your work experience or qualification, which also I would say is not very common, but it could happen. So make sure that your application is correct. So now your application has been accepted and you have been issued an eligibility ID by ASQ. Now your next step will be book your exam date. Now, before booking your exam date, let's understand that ASQ does not offer this exam anytime. So what they do is they have classified or grouped these exams into two categories. One set of exams happen in the even number of months, and one set of exams happen in the odd number of months. For example, some exams will happen in January, March, May, and so on. Whereas when it comes to CCQM exam, this happens in the even months. For example, this will happen in February, April, June, August, October, and December. And there is a cut date for application. So for example, let's say if you are booking for an exam in February, then there will be a cut date of January 7th or January 10th. Before that, you need to put in your application. And based on this, you can appear in the exam in February. Now, using the eligibility ID or the code provided by ASQ, you can go to Prometric. You can book your exam online at Prometric site. And we have two options here. Either you can go to the center and take exam there. So you need to book the exam for appearing in the center, or you can appear in this exam in your own home. So that could be done using remote proctored examination. So in the remote proctored examination, you can take this exam at your home, but then there are certain limitations, certain requirements for that. You need to have a closed room and the room will be inspected and so on. But if you have a center nearby, then you can go and appear for the exam in this center. So you need to book a date for that. So based on the eligibility ID which has been given by ASQ. So one important thing here is that once you get your eligibility ID from ASQ, sooner you book the exam, better it is, because they have very limited number of days for a specific center. So let's say if you plan for the exam in April, it is not possible that you will have all the dates from April 1 to April 30, all the dates available to you. You might only get 1 or 2 dates for the exam. So there are very limited number of seats for each window. So sooner you book the exam, better it will be, because that way you can choose the timing which suit you better. And when booking for the exam, you need to make a choice what type of test you want to take, whether you want to go to the center or you want to take the remote proctor test. And you need to understand that what is your test window, and you need to book your exam during that test window. So now in this video, we talked about three things. We talked about the fee, how much does it cost. We talked about the exam windows, that this exam appears in the even number of months. And we talked about the application process, which basically starts with going to asq.org and putting in your application. Once the application has been approved, then you will be getting a Prometric eligibility ID. Using that, you can book your date. So now in this series, in the fourth video, we will talk about CCQM exam structure and the format of the exam. And once again, here I might want to repeat it again, that when you are preparing for CCQM exam, Quality Gurus has an online course which is 18 hours of videos plus 500 plus questions which you can attempt after each specific topic, and this you get for the lifetime. So you can buy this course by visiting qualitygurus.com and search for the CCQM, and you will find the discount link to this course. And using this link, you will get 20% discount on the Udemy course. And in addition to that, we have practice tests as well, which give you 2 full length timed practice tests. So you can buy that as well. So with this, now let's move on to the fourth video in this series, which is related to the CCQM exam structure and format.